the big question is this: how do pastors like us who remain focused on the mission of Jesus and serving our communities without being distracted by everything in the world around us, how do we increase our effectiveness while living a lifestyle that doesn't compromise our health, our families, or our personal relationships with Jesus? That's the question this podcast is going to answer. I'm Dr. Brandon Party Cooper, and welcome to the Ministry Hackers Podcast. Hello, Ministry Hackers. Hope you guys are having a great day. I have had a very interesting day dealing with my car and getting my hair cut and just a handful of different things. Been kind of a crazy day, and it's like 100 degrees outside. So it's been a good day, but challenging in some respects. And so I hope you are having a good day, a little bit better than mine. But I wanted to tell you guys a quick story today. So, many of you are, all of us are new to the Ministry Hacker community. All of us have been in ministry for a while now, and I'm assuming that most of us are in some different Facebook groups and different things like that. And I have found over the last few months that some of those groups have been a little bit more difficult to get into and have conversations and really be constructive. And so today I kind of wanted to talk about that just briefly. But before we do that, I want to tell you a little story. So many of you know that we went on vacation just a few weeks ago. So at the end of July, first week in August, my family, we went on vacation. We went to the East Coast and kind of traveled all over the place and saw some different things, saw Carissa's parents, and the boys stayed with them for a few days. And on that trip, we have a 1-year-old baby, Emerson, and he took his monkey with him. Now his monkey is, he has had that since the very beginning. It's his cuddle buddy. It's what he takes to bed, when he takes a nap, when he's tired, when he's upset, he wants that monkey. Well, along the way, during the trip, his monkey got lost at a zoo. He must have dropped it somewhere or something happened. We're not really sure, but all of a sudden the monkey was gone. And so, obviously the answer to the problem is to go buy a new one. Well, the problem is that we purchased it here in Iowa at a Walgreens. Well, we looked at Walgreens in the area that we were at. We searched online. We went all over the place online, went to eBay, went to Amazon, went to every other place we could possibly think of. And what we found was that the monkey was no longer being sold anywhere that we could find. It was either discontinued or sold out or whatever the case was. We could not find it. Now, for some of you, that doesn't sound like really a big deal. Well, you just get him something else. For others of us, especially those who've had little ones, and those of us like myself who are probably overly sentimental at times, that's a big deal. Our 1-year-old, his monkey it's an important part of his life, and it's a stabilizer for his emotions and when he's all upset. And so it was a big deal for us at the time. And so we thought, man, we really, maybe we're gonna have to go with something else. And we gave him something else to kind of bide us a little time. But the reality is we couldn't find it. And at the time, we weren't sure quite what to do. Everywhere we looked, we couldn't find it. And so we were a little bit at a loss. Well, as Carissa and I were talking and trying to think through what our options were, we realized that, Carissa has a Facebook group called Physician Assistant Moms. So it's a bunch of moms around the country who are all physician assistants in different areas. And this group has been a huge support for her in a lot of different ways in her career, but they've also, just shown over the last year or so that she's been a part of it. They've just been a really good group. And so Carissa thought, why don't I just throw it out to this group of moms who get it and who understand kind of what we're going through and the emotions of the situation. And maybe they'll be able to find something. And so she did. She got on our group and she posted it and just said, hey, if anybody has any way of getting a hold of one of these, we would love it. If you could grab it, we'll pay you for it and send it to us and all of that. And so we did that, and we went on with our vacation. And about 2 days later, we'd been watching the Facebook feed, and everyone was saying, "Oh, we looked here," and we were tracking kind of what states had looked, and states all over the country were saying, we couldn't find it near us. Some of the moms were saying, we went to 2 or 3 different Walgreens, we couldn't find it. And so a couple days later, we kind of just resigned. Like, it's just not out there. You can't buy it. There's nobody selling it anymore. And so we just kind of resigned ourselves to, well, we're just gonna have to find something else. And then about the third day, we received a message. Carissa received a message in her group that someone had found it. Someone had found it, and they were going to. They had actually found 2 of them. They had bought both of them, and were sending them to us so that when we got home from our vacation, that it would be there. And as you can imagine, it was a pretty happy moment for us as parents, just because, number one, the problem was fixed. The situation was solved. We knew that when we got home, the monkeys would be there, and so we would be able to give it over to Emerson, and everything would kind of go back to normal. But the other side of it was is that it was nice for us in the moment to know that somebody out there understood what we were going through, because we realized even within ourselves that we were being maybe a little dramatic, or a little over the top on how important this monkey was, and maybe even going to great lengths that were maybe not necessary, or others would not go through, just to find this random monkey for our 1-year-old baby. But it was just nice to know that somebody else understood, even in our ridiculousness, or in our over the top behavior, that somebody at least understood what we were feeling, and how we were feeling, and what we were going through. And at the same time, it also made us feel like we were being cared for and looked after. And all of these moms all over the country took time out of their day to look. Some of them traveled to 2 or 3 different locations and looked. Some of them traveled, some of them were near state lines. They traveled to a different state. I mean, this group of moms, these physician assistant moms, really went out of their way to help, and and we don't know them. They don't know us. It's just they're a part of this group together. And as physician assistant moms, they all understand each other. And when it was all said and done, and after the moment, we knew that it was coming, and we knew that it would be here when we got home. And I really got to thinking about that. We launched Ministry Hackers a week before I went on vacation. So when all this was going on, it was definitely in my mind of, man, this is a really great group. And I realized, even as we were going through it, that if I were to go to some of my pastor Facebook groups, partially most of those groups are all men. And so, there wouldn't really be they wouldn't feel the same about the situation as a bunch of moms would. But I also realized that I didn't feel comfortable going to a lot of those groups, simply because I didn't think that they would be as concerned or look out for us the way Carissa's Facebook group did. And again, part of it's the nature of the group itself, as a bunch of physician assistant moms. But I thought, man, as a group with a bunch of pastors, could be compassionate and giving, and all those things. I just wasn't sure that some of my pastor groups, would be that way. And I just thought, for us as ministry hackers in this group, and for each of you as members of this group, I'm sure on some level, you want to be in a group where you're supported, where you're cared for, loved, where you can ask any question. It doesn't matter how ridiculous that question is, and you're not going to be attacked by it, or you're not going to be attacked by somebody because of it, or put down because of it. Or remember in school, it was always said there are no dumb questions, but there's always some kid in the class that made it feel like it was a dumb question. And I don't want that to happen in this group. I'm in some groups, some pastor groups, where I watch people post questions all the time, and there are members of the group that just tear them apart, and are very critical, and not helpful at all. And sometimes they're legitimate questions. And so I just thought, I really want this group, Ministry Hackers, our group, to not be like that. I want us to look more like Carissa's physician assistant moms Facebook group, where they're looking out for each other, where they're, taking care of each other, where they're, even supporting and encouraging, and all of those things. Because right now, for all of us who are pastors and ministry leaders, we are in a very tough time. I know for me, I've been in ministry 20 years. This is the toughest season um, that I've ever been in to pastor. And not because it's tough on me, because we've all been through tough seasons in our own ministries, but this season is tough for everybody. And even those who seem like it's easy or that they're doing well, it's not so much that it's easy, it's more that they've just navigated the challenges well so far. And a lot of that's because they've been supported. A lot of it's because they have other pastors and ministry leaders around them who are giving them good feedback and giving them good ideas and encouraging them when something doesn't go right or whatever the case is. But not all of us are in those situations. Some of us, we pastor alone, or we pastor with just one or two others on our staff. Some of us are isolated in rural areas, or or we're serving in a city, but we feel isolated because we don't know any other ministry leaders around us. And so I want this Ministry Hackers to be a place where you feel like you can come, you can pose a question, you can present an idea, and you're not going to be torn apart. You're not going to be ridiculed. You're not going to be put down. You're going to be supported. Maybe get some constructive criticism in the process, especially when asked for it. But then at the end, you're going to feel like this is a group where I can go to and I can feel like I belong, and that these people look out for me. So that's a little bit of my challenge, I guess, to all of us. All of us are in the trenches, and what we're doing, we're all doing our thing in our locations with our teams and our congregations, all those things. But my prayer and my hope for this group, for Ministry Hackers, is that each of you will engage here, that you will support each other, that you will give your best ideas to everyone to be able to use, to modify, to help navigate them through difficulties, because all of us are different, are experts in different areas. We all have talents in different areas. And if we pool all of those together for the cause of Christ and the advancement of his kingdom, to me, that's ministering the way we should. And so I just want to encourage you, challenge you to do that. I want to encourage you to engage with the group. And if you're listening to this podcast and you're not a part of the Ministry Hackers group, I want to invite you to find us on Facebook or go to ministryhackers.com, and you'll be able to find us and join this group of pastors and ministry leaders who are encouraging, loving, and challenging one another. All right. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.